Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm so glad you're here to nourish your roots with me. I'm Jess Milner, and today let's talk a little bit about cortisol. Okay. I have a lot of requests for, okay, Jess, how do I lower my cortisol? What are signs that my cortisol is high? And I notice it especially for women. It tends to be an issue, and then even more so as we start to get into perimenopause, which means pre-menopause. Basically, we start perimenopause a good 10 years before we feel any kind of symptoms of menopause. So once you're starting to actually feel all of these symptoms and everything, you're pretty much, getting into it, even if you're still cycling. So your hormones are already doing, all kinds of acrobatics and stuff. And cortisol is going to be a part of that. So, you'll notice that, oh my gosh, I thought I had this all, taken care of. So what can I do? What can I do to make sure that my levels are doing what they're supposed to be doing? So, okay, what are some signs that your levels are high? So you might be tired all the time, but you just can't sleep. So I used to always kind of make this joke, like, okay, your adrenals might be like really upset with you, you have this like chronic fatigue kind of thing going on. You can fall asleep standing up during the day while you're like standing up in your kitchen. You just think, okay, you know what? I could just stand here and take a nap without even laying down. And then when you go to lay down at night, I mean, sleep is the last thing your body wants to do. It's like, you're kind of like flip-flopped, like your body wants to sleep when it's supposed to be awake and be awake when it's supposed to be asleep. And then your mind starts to wander and everything. Another aspect of it, it can be if you are waking up between 2 and 3 a.m. and you can't get back to sleep. This can also have a lot to do with your liver. And of course, everything has something to do with detox, both physical and emotional detoxification. So there can be a whole bunch of reasons why your liver is angry and waking you up, and your cortisol levels. It's gonna, because everything is all connected. It's never like okay, let's just handle this one thing and we'll be all better. Nope, that's not how true wellness works, right? We got to make sure that we encompass it all. So another one will be brain fog. And this, of course, amps up when you get into your perimenopause years, amps up, especially if you have like ADHD or any kind of symptoms like that. If you have, you're dealing with anxiety and this and that, if you've been somebody who even in your 20s and 30s would walk into a room and go, why the hell am I in here? And people be like, yeah, that's just a sign that you're getting older. Like, listen, when you're like, what, when you're 28, it's a sign you're getting older? No, it's a brain fog thing. There's stuff going on. The gut's all messed up and the hormones are doing weird acrobatics. Okay. Brain fog. You might be, another sign you might be craving tons and tons of sugar and salt. And not the good kind of salty stuff, I mean, like you're craving like chicken fingers and stuff, and you're on an emotional roller coaster. Moody probably doesn't even begin to explain it. And you kind of like sit back and wonder like how your family members are like still okay with you like being around. Cause some of the time we can be pretty insane. And that's, like I'm telling you, like there are days where I'm like, wow, I was like, you're a pretty crazy person that day. Your digestion is probably off too. I did mention that, if you're having brain fog, you're having all these other things going on, your digestion's probably off because, of course, you have your drainage funnel and your drainage funnel ends, in that digestion there. If you're not pooping 2 or 3 times a day, then your body is automatically toxic. It's not properly getting rid of the things that it needs to, and then things will kind of back up and spill over and then redeposit in different areas in the body. So as a result of this, your gut microbiome is going to be off. So of course, you're going to have some immune issues. You might get sick more often. You might be like, oh my gosh, why did I get like 4 colds this winter? Maybe you're getting some skin rashes, you're reacting to some things. For me, I tend to notice, and I've started to correlate it with these other symptoms as well. When you kind of sit back and go, okay, well, was I also dealing with A, B, and C? There are certain times when I will, like eat a mango or a walnut and my mouth will get a little itchy and irritated. And normally that doesn't happen for me. And it has come and gone. So when the liver, when the gut microbiome, when those things are not doing so well, you end up having, issues like that where and then of course, everyone's favorite one, sign that your cortisol is high is that you are gaining weight, particularly in your face and your midsection. So that can be super frustrating, especially when you're doing all of the things. And at this point, you are trying things, I mean, for me, I mean, I'm 43. The things that I was doing just in my 30s to drop all the weight that I did are giving me a little bit more trouble. And I just noticed it's because it's kind of, you're working not against, but you're working against a bunch of stuff to get your hormones to do what they're supposed to do. So there's just more stuff, there's more weeds that you have to get through to be able to get to that point. So don't despair. It's essentially the same type of things that you're going to continue to do. But we might have to kind of buckle down a little bit more. And a lot of it, so much of it, probably 80% of it is going to be your mindset. You're going to probably, that's just how it is. If you sit there and go, "Oh my gosh, I'm just, getting so much worse. Everything is blubbering up and I feel so uncomfortable in my pants and there's nothing I can do because I'm getting older and I guess I'm just destined to be this way or this doesn't work for me, that doesn't work for me." Then those things are going to end up being true for you. So it really takes a lot because you want your mind to be right. And it's not just because, I don't want you going around with like this fake positivity thing, where you're like, everything's great, everything's fantastic, because that can even be toxic in of itself when you're just constantly like everything is perfect. And, because not everything is perfect, but we can still be very happy, open to receiving more, understand that we are absolutely worthy of our desires. And if your desire is to lower your cortisol and drop some of that weight and get back some of your energy and get back some of your your brain power. Here we go with the brain fog, right? There it is. But if you want to get some of those things back, you absolutely are worthy of doing that and your body is absolutely capable. So what we really need to do is help our nervous system. We want to activate our vagus nerve. We want our parasympathetic nervous system to be doing what it's supposed to be. We don't want to be in sympathetic in a stress state all the time. So we work on ourselves, our emotional detox, so if we want to do emotion code or body code, or we want to just dive in to some of our limiting beliefs so that we truly are believing that we are worthy of what we're doing, and everything's going to work so much better when you do that. It's not just like, I mean, you could have like a mantra, sort of a thing. Weight falls off of me easily. I easily lose weight. I easily balance my hormones. When I eat certain things, they don't go directly to my hips or whatever the case is. But we need to have our nervous system more in a relaxed, rather stress-free. I mean, stress-free is unrealistic, but as stress-free as possible so that those statements are not just like, mindless chatter. We want to actually be fully believing what we are saying so that when we put it out there, we're believing it, we're encompassing that, and then, all of our desires can start to head our way without so many obstacles. So, um, so mindfulness. So one way to lower it, we can start there. We want to do some mindfulness work. So this can be journaling. This can be meditation. Meditation is a wonderful way to kind of get yourself calm and centered. And you can do something guided if you don't know what to do. I know for me, it can be very hard to get my brain to calm down, to just focus on my breath and try not to let too many thoughts come in. But when they do, you just recognize that they're there and send them away, because it's not something that we need to deal with while we are meditating. This isn't time to like sit there and go over the checklist in your mind of all the things that you need to do or that you forgot to do or anything like that. So it takes a little bit of time. Start off slow, and I will be sharing more about that, of course. Different breathing techniques and ways to relax your muscles, different breathing techniques are absolutely wonderful. I am not a certified instructor in breathing or anything like that. I do know a couple of tips and tricks, so hang around and you'll see some things like that. And aside from that, we want to make sure that we're getting good sleep. A good way to lower your cortisol is make sure that you're getting good sleep. And I know you're thinking like, yeah, but Jess, you just said that, I want to sleep when I'm standing up in my kitchen, but I can't sleep at night. I understand. Okay. So your environment has a lot to do with that, I would say. So before bed, I know it's hard, but you got to get off of the screens. And this is hard for me too. So I just want to put that out there that, I'm not telling you like, oh, do this, I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. But when I was getting really good sleep is when I was going into my room, reading a book. I love to do that. Just sit and read a book in bed and get sleepy doing that rather than like staring at something on my phone. I mean, my husband and I, we like to like put on a movie or something after the kids go to bed. We might like, doze off on the couch or something, but it's important to get in there and just have your nighttime routine. So even, like make sure you go in, maybe you want to do some breath work, maybe you want to do a small meditation, even a guided one, or, just read a book. And that will be a much better way to get yourself into sleep rather than being in that stressed out state. Because when we have those screens on, the lights going in, it's causing different kinds of stresses. And so, it's you're putting yourself into more of a stress state rather than less. So we want to be winding down at bedtime. And somebody tell my kids that too. Anybody else with kids just like you need to put down all of the things so that you can like calm down for bed, and they think that that means run around the house like crazy people. Exercise is another wonderful way to lower your cortisol. So you do whatever kind of exercise is good for you, some kind of movement. So if that's yoga, if that's Tai Chi, if that is a brisk walk or jogging, totally fine. If you want to get into lifting, if you want to do some more intense workouts, that's okay too. And you want to do them in the morning. You want to keep them rather moderate in the morning, though, because the exercising will help to regulate the cortisol levels in the morning. But your cortisol levels, they're spiking around 30 to 45 minutes after you wake up. So if you're doing 20 to 30 minutes after you wake up, you're doing like a super intense, crazy workout, it might spike the cortisol a little bit more. So you want to keep it, not too crazy intense, and do like the crazy intense a little bit later in the day. That's what I would recommend there. Make sure that you're connected with your family and friends, with anybody that bring you joy. Laughter is huge. There have been studies on how well people do with cancer treatments, with people who are, they're watching funny movies, doing things, they're laughing a lot versus people who are not. We're not exposed to that. They do much better on their treatments and everything when they incorporate laughter. Laughter is so good for your heart. It's so good for your entire heart center. When they say laughter is the best medicine, I can get behind that. I like it. Laughter is really wonderful. And I know probably everybody out there has had a time where somebody made them laugh and they actually did start to feel a little bit better, even though they were feeling sick or they were feeling sad, or, we don't need to like laugh things away and pretend like a problem's not there. But laughter is so, so good for everything about you. And it helps to regulate that nervous system. Okay, so let's talk about food. So really the biggest thing for lowering cortisol is we want to try and really avoid those ultra processed carbohydrates, the grains and the sugars, the things with the extra additives, those ultra processed foods. So that's not to say that you can't have some sourdough or something like that. Of course, everybody's going to be a little bit different with how their body is reacting to carbohydrates. Some people can do more than others and have the same types of success. So it's important that we know our bodies there. But carbohydrates are not bad guys, so don't get me wrong there. It's really just more about the type and the other things that are in there, because the whole idea is we want to lower our toxic load, right? So you're going to want to focus on proteins, healthy fats, fruits and veggies. It's going to be important that you can do your veggies, or, like a salad first, or your veggies with your protein. And then, like your meat, and then you're going to want to do your fruit or other carbohydrate, whether it's potatoes or something like that. Eat that part last. And this is just so that you're going to get more of the protein. It's going to help to slow down the breakdown into glucose and everything. So it's going to help regulate your blood sugar better and help you utilize everything much better. So it's going to decrease your chances of having insulin resistance and any other kind of like blood sugar issues, which are of course going to contribute to this sort of thing, to your cortisol levels and your weight gain and all that great stuff. We're going to want to limit our caffeine and alcohol. I do drink coffee, but I try to keep it to 1 cup in the morning, and I love my Life Boost coffee. So please use my referral link for Life Boost. I sought them out because they're my favorite coffee. They're low acid. They are third party tested for mold and mycotoxins, so that's really good. It's much better on your stomach. So if you have different digestive issues where coffee and poop are besties, and so it was kind of like giving you like the ouchies, and your guts was all over the place. This coffee may be a lot better for you, and it doesn't give as much heartburn and stuff because, like I said, it's low acid. So I sought them out because it was my most favorite coffee. So I am an affiliate for them now. That's my favorite. And of course, like I said, limiting your alcohol. Alcohol, I mean, it's full of sugar. It's gonna add more toxic load to your liver, and it's full of sugar. So, okay. So let's kind of go over. Let me see here. I mean, there are a couple other things that you can do that are kind of more outside. Well, inside your house would be aromatherapy. So you can do like lavender, chamomile, sandalwood. Those things are good to help to calm you. So especially if you wanted to diffuse those or put some, like I used to do doTERRA's Serenity. I would put on my wrists and the bottom of my feet and behind my ears before I went to bed. It would just really help go with going back to sleep. I remember I would have trouble going back to sleep after waking up with my girls when they were real small. And then I started doing the Serenity every night, and I had zero trouble going back to sleep after getting up to nurse my sons. So I attribute some of that to the Serenity because it's wonderful. It has the lavender and vanilla and sandalwood. It smells fantastic. Okay. So that's a good one to do there. Regular massages are going to be good as well. It's going to help with the muscle relaxation too, especially if you're doing any kind of like work. I mean, we start to ignore stuff and we are so tense and we're holding everything in our neck and our shoulders and our back. And, we're holding like all of our anxiety is getting held in these areas. So, to have a regular massage can be fantastic to help to move some of that out. And of course, acupuncture can be great too. I love acupuncture, but for a completely different reason. That's why I used it for a totally different thing. But highly recommend acupuncture if that's something that you want to get into. Okay, so in terms of lowering our cortisol, what else? So you want to make sure that you're staying hydrated. So basically, you want to wake up in the morning and first thing you should be doing is drinking some water. Even if you put some electrolytes in it, if you put a little pinch of sea salt and put, a squeeze of lemon in there, or you could use like Element or something like that to give yourself some electrolytes. But you didn't drink anything for the 7 to 9 hours you were sleeping. Did you hear that? 7 to 9 hours you were sleeping. 7 is pretty much mandatory for good sleep to in order to get all of the toxins out of like the brain cells. You need your 7 hours, but nevertheless you were not drinking any water during that time because you were sleeping. So you wake up in the morning and you want to rehydrate. You want to give your body the hydration that it needs first thing. So you're going to wake up, you're going to drink some water. And then you can do 20 to 30 minutes of your moderate workout. Maybe you're going for a brisk walk, maybe you're doing some yoga, maybe you're just doing your workout, but it's not going to be like, the super crazy intense. I mean, I do lift shortly after I wake up in the morning. And, I mean, sometimes it's more intense than other times. And usually when it's more intense, I wait until, a little bit later in the day. And that's kind of just been out of, what's out of life, because there's so much more going on. I have, more dogs and children now than I did when I first started waking up early and working out. So, you have to adjust because, we're human. We have lives. Okay. So after you do your workout, then you're going to want to do your breakfast. So breakfast, we want to focus on proteins and healthy fats. I definitely don't want to, if you're having trouble with cortisol levels, you don't want to be starting your day with like oatmeal or something like that, or like or a pastry or something. I mean, once in a while. I'm for Father's Day, I made a um cinnamon biscuits, for my husband. And, so it's, that's okay, like on holidays and what have you. But overall, you want to be having proteins and fats. I mean, if you have like a little slice of toast with it or something, but, same rule applies. You eat that toast last after you eat your protein. And the reason is because, your protein and fats, protein will spike your, not spike, but it'll send your blood sugar up a little bit. Fats will tend to keep it nice and stable. So we don't want like the very first thing that we put in our system in the morning to be something that's going to super spike that blood sugar like oatmeal would do. I'm just using oatmeal as an example. But that would spike the sugar up, and that's just setting up your entire day for spikes, ups and downs, and you're going to have like a roller coaster of blood sugar throughout the day. It doesn't keep you satiated as long, that kind of thing. So we're going to want to start off with breakfast, like maybe like a Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, or you could do eggs and avocado, maybe some, sausage or something. And another way you could do like a protein smoothie. I like to put Greek yogurt, maybe a little protein powder, and whatever berries and other fruits and yummy things that you would like to have in there. Don't be afraid of the fruit in the morning, but make sure that it's being paired with a protein. Okay. So after that, then we're going to have our coffee or tea. Sometimes I will go ahead and have my coffee with my breakfast, but I make sure that I eat a good portion of it before I start drinking the coffee. And mostly just because I want to be able to support my adrenals and not spike the extra, spike the extra cortisol. So you're, let's see, what's the rule? You want to wait about an hour to an hour and a half after you wake up to have your coffee. It's best if you have the protein first, but you want to wait an hour to an hour and a half because your cortisol is going to spike, like I said, 30 to 45 minutes. So if you're having coffee during that cortisol spike after you woke up, it's going to spike it even more. And that's not what we want. That's the exact opposite of what we're going for here. Okay. So I'm just going to look over my things here, see if there's anything that I didn't mention. Okay, supplements. Let's talk about supplements. So, there's lots of supplements out there that claim to be great for this, that, and the other thing. And, cortisol levels, adrenals, all that, that's definitely one of them. And there are, it's true, they do exist. Sometimes you will have success with, okay, I'm going to take some ashwagandha and that's going to be good for that. Or maybe some rhodiola. Holy basil is another herbal remedy that could be helpful for that. Or maybe you're going to be taking a whole food supplement that has, like an adrenal desiccated or something like that. I also like Drenamin and Drenatrophin. There's a bunch out there though. I also like to take Cellcore's BC ATP that just really, that works on the entire mitochondria. It gives you, some energy and brain focus. But these things can be very helpful, and I'm happy to help anybody grab like a really good label. This isn't the type of thing that I would just go out and get from anywhere. You want to make sure that you're getting the goods. But these are going to be incorporated into any programs that you do with me. And, especially if we're looking at blood work and we're handling all these other things with our mindfulness and making sure that we're really getting into the spiritual and emotional side of healing as well. Because if we don't do that, the rest, nothing else is going to follow. So, you kind of got to get your mind right. You got to, be okay with where you are, be thankful for where you are, and thankful that you know what steps to take to listen to your body to get to where you want to be. So supplements can absolutely be super helpful in those realms, but they're not going to be the be all end all. It's not, I don't have a magic pill that you can just start taking and it's going to work great. I have had people go, oh my gosh, you gave me this and everything is working so much. It's like this was the missing link of everything. Awesome. I'm so glad. But that's not typical, and definitely, one size fits all isn't going to be great for that sort of thing. So really, if you want to get into a deeper detox, you want to really get in there, kind of give the body what it needs, go through and get rid of whatever is going on in the gut and the liver that doesn't need to be there, help everything safely get out, and then go ahead and rebuild. And then that's where one of my 90-day programs comes in. And of course, we're going to do all the mindfulness stuff as well. So those are really, really exciting if you really want to dig into that. But nevertheless, I hope that this was very informative for you. I hope that you learned something. Go ahead and reach out to me to ask any questions. You can find me on Facebook at Deep Rooted Wellness, and my Instagram as well. And go ahead, subscribe, leave me a 5-star review, please. You can find me on YouTube as well. It's Jess DRW on YouTube. And I'm so glad that you were here today. I hope that you learned something about signs of high cortisol and some ways that you can go ahead and lower it. And if you want to work with me, I'm so excited to cheer you on and help you out. So come on over and let's work together. Everybody have a beautiful day.